it's a Black Friday for all South Africa's gospel community. Elvis Lundi Chamaga passed away overnight at the tender age of 38.
Only 38 years old. Another one of our gospel artists gone too soon. And of course, we're going to ask a question around that, but there's also a couple of tweets that's coming in terms of how did you remember Lundi Chamaga? Let's take a look at what you have to say.
Here are some of your tweets with regards to, well, the award-winning gospel singer, we have to add. Great.
Monwabisi says, rest in peace. I will remember you with your song Nkolele. Still can't believe it.
Toby Kuti says, Newsroom, a colourful musician featured on Zim's Ivy Combi track, Hanzi Chokeri Shore, with Vuyo Butle and Tim Nkosi.
This one from Rest in Peace Lundi Antoinette says, I used to call him the male version of Dr. Rebecca Malope, the Prince of Gospel. Hashtag rest in peace Lundi.
Also, we remember Thandi Klaasen. Her funeral is underway in Alberton right now. We'll cross there live a little bit later to Griselda Lewis, who's there to give us a little update. But don't forget the question, how do you remember Lundi Chamaga? That is our question of the day today. But we also, of course, have some of the other business at hand. Today we focus on a belief that initiation is necessary to build cohesion amongst learners. The Basic Education Department developed a code of conduct for learners aimed at addressing inappropriate learner behavior such as bullying. So we're asking you on our poll today, should initiation be banned in all schools, Elvis?
That's the question we pose, and this is the feedback that we have already from you. So far, 141 votes in, 72% are saying yes, it should be banned in all schools, and 28% are saying no. You can also tweet us on this question. You have 23 hours to do so.
Yeah, interesting. 3/4 of people say ban this thing, because it leads to trouble at schools, it leads to bullying, and we know that bullying is a problem, of course, in our schools. Yesterday, while we're on the matter of schools, Elvis, yesterday we ran an interesting poll because we had lots of feedback around uniforms. We asked, should uniforms be banned, was the one question, and we ran this poll because there's so many monopolies that are making it unaffordable for parents. Elvis?
The total score on this final result, 247 voted, 81% are saying yes, uniforms are becoming unaffordable, and 19% are saying no. Well, there you have it. Majority South Africans are agreeing that school uniforms are just too expensive.
Something needs to be done. The competition commissions think that bringing in more competition within this, within this fraternity will make uniforms a little bit cheaper. We're going to follow up on that story for you in the future. Keep your eyes on the show, because I'd be interested as a parent myself to see what happens. But let's get into our work here on a Friday morning with the headlines with Office.
Award-winning gospel singer Lundi Chamaga died at the Johannesburg Hospital just after midnight after being diagnosed with stomach TB and liver problems. Jazz sensation Thandi Klaasen's funeral service is underway and will be laid to rest today at the Thomas and Corby Cemetery east of Johannesburg. Of course, we'll cross there live to our reporter Griselda Lewis. And the ad hoc committee is expected to get legal opinion on whether its draft report can be sent to affected parties without recommendations. They are busy as we speak. That's the SABC ad hoc committee looking into the affairs of the SABC. We'll also cross there to find out what is the latest. But right now, before we get to the news, let's find out from Kendall Makamate what's happening on the sports front.
Gentlemen, it's a busy day.
Yes? Is it going to be rougher against Federer in the final in Australia?
We're all hoping for it. We're all hoping for it. It's going to be one of those matches that everybody wants to see. Roger Federer against Rafael Nadal in the twilight of their careers, but playing like they were just like 20 years old, I tell you. That's what we're hoping for in that men's final on Sunday. And this is what else we've got for you in the sports today.
going to be quite tough. Sri Lanka taking the momentum into the one-day series, so it's going to be a bit of a tough task for us. But no, quite confident. We've got most of our players back now after the test series, after the rest, so quite confident going into the one-day series.
South Africa's cricket side will be seeking revenge for their T20 series loss to Sri Lanka when they take to the field in the first ODI tomorrow in the Windy City.
Always a nice and a privilege for us to play against the best in the country, in the world, and we definitely are looking forward to the quad series.
The Spa Proteas team goes up against the top nations in the world as the second leg of the netball quad series hits Durban this weekend. The business end of the AFCON has arrived in Gabon as 8 nations jostle for the right to play for Africa's bragging rights as the best footballing nation on the continent. All this and more I've got for you later on in the Sports Bulletin. Be sure to stick around for it. For now, it is Elvis who's got the news for you.
Thank you, Kendall. Start off with some sad news this morning. Award-winning gospel singer Lundi Chamaga has died in the early hours of this morning at the age of 38 after a long illness. He had been in a Johannesburg hospital since October after being diagnosed with stomach and liver problems. Lundi started his solo career in 1998 and was known for many gospel hits, such as Mphefumlo Wami, Volele Angene, and Kuluma Nabo. His groundbreaking hit saw him winning at the Sama Awards, the Cora Awards, and the Crown Gospel Music Awards. Staying with music and still some sad news, jazz legend Thandi Klaasen's funeral service is underway in Eden Park in Johannesburg, in Alberton actually. She will be buried at the Thomas and Ngobi Cemetery east of the city. Klaasen died of cancer at the age of 86 last year. She will be remembered, especially for her hit Sophiatown. And in the 1960s, she starred in the internationally acclaimed musical King Kong. She received numerous awards, including the Order of the Baobab in gold, a Standard Bank Lifetime Achievement Award, the Canadian Women of Distinction Award, and a Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2006 SA Music Awards. For more on that story, as promised, let's now cross live to our reporter Griselda Lewis, who is covering the story in Alberton, east of Johannesburg. Griselda, very good morning to you, and I understand the funeral service has already started. How is the mood there?
Well, Elvis says South Africa wakes up to the sad news of the passing of a legend as well in his own right, Lundi Chamaga. Today we're also paying tribute and also laying to rest another legend in the music industry, jazz legend Thandi Klassen. And yes, the funeral service has already got underway. It's been a couple of hours now, and scores have come here to pay tribute to the mama that they refer to as a jazz diva, as the queen of jazz. And certainly many South Africans as well have been paying tribute to her for the role that she has played. And you must quite important to point out that who is being laid to rest here today is not just a musician, but somebody who played a very pivotal role during the apartheid era as well, using her microphone through music to inspire young non-white women who wanted to enter into the music industry. So really quite a sad day for South Africa here today as we're laying to rest one of the legends in the jazz industry. We're also hearing about the death of that music sensation as well, Lundi Chamaga. Now, just to mention a few of the dignitaries who are here this morning, we've got the Gauteng Premier, David Makura, who is here, who will also pay tribute to Thandi Klassen, the former president of South Africa. Thabo Mbeki is also here, together with the executive mayor, Mzwandile Masina. But let's just chat to some of the family members now, just to get a sense of how they would want Thandi Klassen to be remembered. I'm joined by the granddaughter here, Dr. Nandi Ndlovu. Thank you so much for your time this morning, especially during a difficult time. Condolences to you and your family. Dr. Ndlovu, how would you want South Africans to remember Thandi Klassen?
I think 3 words. Strength. She was the epitome of the strongest person I have ever known. And pride. Be proud of who you are, proud of your talent, you know, proud of what you bring into the world. And the third one, love. My grandmother loved open-heartedly. She loved her community, she loved her family. She was all those 3 words.
As you lay your grandmother to rest today, you know, there's so many ways, I guess, that South Africa can pay tribute to her. But I think most importantly is the lasting legacy that we need to carry on with. You know, as a jazz legend, she wasn't just that. She inspired many young women during difficult apartheid years to get into the music industry. It was very difficult then if you were non-white. Impossible. How would you want South Africa to take that legacy and move it forward, and not just to forget that Thandi Klaasen had done so much?
Wow, I think firstly, play her songs. Listen to those words. Listen to every single word she has ever written. Because in her every single song, she was basically telling us what to do, how to keep it going, how to keep on striving forward. You understand? And I mean, through her actions, if you think about it, way back then, when they started this all, they were fighting the impossible, you know, not just through the apartheid system, but sexism as well.
Yes.
And I mean, every single female out there, my family only has females, funny enough, and we are basically forces. Every single one of us has to be strong, and it all comes down from my grandmother. You have to be strong. You have to fight for every single day, fight for everything that you've ever earned, and just run with it, work with it.
Now, I understand that you were Thandi Klaasen's favorite granddaughter. So tell us, you know, some of those priceless moments. You know, we know Thandi Klaasen through the music. We've seen her, you know, with her lingo, very Sapphire Town, the queen of Sapphire Town. But some of those priceless moments that you could share with South Africans about your grandmother.
Well, I was named after her. That's my middle name, Thandi, obviously. And my grandmother knew how to cook. My grandmother would cook anybody out the kitchen, you know? So she, like, every single Sunday, she'd say, come on over. Cook for us, but you don't touch her drumstick. Don't you dare touch that drumstick. She'll smack you over the head with it. Yes. But my grandmother, as I said, love. Her home was really, really humble. But it was full of so much love. It was so warm and just so welcoming. And I'm going to really miss that about her. You know, because now we don't have any more reason to really come to this area. You understand? She was like our anchor, bringing us all together. So that's, to me, that's my greatest heart sore. Yeah. That's my greatest pain.
You know, during the memorial service, we saw so many beautiful tributes to her. And, you know, one of the things that stuck to my mind was the fact that many people said she would just walk out of the door, and within the community where she lived, she was always vibrant. We always saw that vibrance about her. She always spoke different languages, always mixed that as well. So,
nice melting pot.
Absolutely. You know, to community members, what was she in the community? You know, how would she always converse with them?
My grandmother was a very no-nonsense kind of person.
Yes, we know.
They would be parents bringing kids and saying, Thandi, fix her. Fix this child, fix her for me, because she was like the fixer, you know, honestly. And I think my grandmother knew every single person. Every single family knew her. She knew whose daughter came through, who was passing or failing or whatever, but she was part of her community. She was like a very integral part of it. So now with her passing, there's a big hole. And not our hearts, but the community hearts as well.
Absolutely. Dr. Thandi Klaasen, thank you very much for your time, and condolences once again to you and your family. Certainly a legend who is being laid to rest here today. Now, once the funeral service is at the hall in Alberton, we will cemetery, and you know that Thandi Klaasen will be buried near the struggle stalwart Chris Hani, and that really does point out to the indelible mark that she made within the South African music industry. You recall as well, she wasn't only celebrated here today. Many are saying this is a celebration of the life of a legend, but she was celebrated even way before she passed on. You'd recall in 2006 she'd also received or was awarded the Order of Baobab, and of course for her excellent contribution in the arts. And that's the person who is being laid to rest here. Not only a loss to her family, but as her granddaughter indicated, a loss to the community as well. But we'll continue to bring you live coverage from the funeral service of the diva of right here in Alberton. We'll cross to you much later on to give you a bit more details.
That's our reporter Griselda Lewis there in Alberton. Let's move on now. The ad hoc committee is underway deliberating and seeking legal opinion on whether its draft report can be sent to affected parties without recommendations. This is the committee that wants to adopt its final report, or its final draft report, that is. However, debate flared up yesterday between the ANC and the DA in the ad hoc committee following the ANC's Julie Killian's suggestion that the recommendations be excluded for now. She said that the recommendations should only be considered after the committee received comment from the affected parties who would get the draft report. Well, well, it seems like we're not going to get that particular clip. We'll see if we can give you an update a little bit later on the SABC. Let's now go back now to Eben, who would take us back to Alberton, where Griselda Lewis was standing by a short while ago. Eben, where the funeral of Thandi Klaasen is taking place.
Yeah, Elvis, I think it's only appropriate for us to do that. Jazz legend Thandi Klassen done so much for South Africa. Let's go to the funeral service in Alberton. Of course, she'll be laid to rest a little bit later today at the Thomas and Corby Cemetery. That is in the eastern part here of Johannesburg.
Like you mentioned, a strong individual. And going through what I've been through in the past couple of years, moving far away from home and passing through the same type of life that my gran and my mom have passed through, really was special to me because they really taught me how to be independent and strong and not take no for an answer. And that's the type of gift that I'm really appreciative that I've gotten from my grandmother. She's also the comedian, like you know, and that's something that I've also inherited from her. The last memory that I have with my grandmother was in Canada. We were watching our movies, and then Denzel Washington came on. And she said, "Jessica, come, Denzel Washington is on. We must watch our movies." So we lay down and we'd watch our movies, and she said, "Ooh, I like his neck." And I said, "Okay, Grandma, that's enough. Let's just watch the movie now. I don't know about the neck." So she always had this funny spirit, and you know, the kids just loved to jump around her and be around her, and I'm really truly blessed and happy that I was able to bring my son so that he can see Africa as well for the first time, and so we can see also Makulu see her off, and it was truly a blessing for them to meet their great-grandmother. Not everybody has that opportunity. So I'm not gonna cry. I promised myself I wouldn't cry because I know my grandmother would say, "Don't cry, you have to look good. Can't you see the cameras are there?" So I'm not crying, Granny, I look good. So I'm doing you justice, I hope. And I'm really, really grateful, and I'm honored that you all showed up and you're all here paying homage to my gran, the Honorable Thandi Klassen. So thank you very much.
Aren't they startling? Aren't they startling? It's like you doubt it. Look at them. Over to you.
Molweni. Molweni. Good morning. Goeiemorgen. Lena message ifike izolo ebusuku while we as a family were all gathered around icoffin kamamkhulu. Now, like my cousins in Joburg said, she's known as Makadi, but a Cape Town ikugulethu simaze as umamkhulu. So, le message ifike izolo ebusuku while we were gathering and singing around icoffin kamamkhulu. Isuka from the arts community, united in Canada, the United States, and the Caribbean. We thought that it was fitting to read this message because, like Umakazi Lorraine said, umamkhulu was a person of love, was a person of ubuntu. Because she was up there, ebebazi abantu, so we thought it's fitting ba masifundele message esuka kuthi. Deepest condolences from the arts community in Canada, the United States of America, and the Caribbean. It is with great sadness that we learn of the passing of our beloved mother, sister, grandmother, a phenomenal jazz singer, Thandi Klassen. Sister Thandi always entertained and made us laugh whenever she was in Montreal, Canada, visiting her daughter, Lorraine Klassen. She was the favorite singer of many jazz musicians in the Montreal because of her versatile jazz repertoire. Through the gift of music that she has passed on to her daughter, Thandi Klaasen's name and the music culture of South Africa have reached many communities in Canada, USA, and in the Caribbean islands. May her soul rest in peace, and may her love for Africa and African music inspire the younger generation to nurture their roots so that the great tree of African music will forever be as strong as the legacy that Thandi Klaasen has given us through her daughter Lorraine. Love and kindness from the arts community in Canada, United States of America, and the Caribbean islands. Inkosi.
Molweni. Dumelang. Absheni. Bonjour. Kamlam ndingulindi weSakai, ndisuka eGugulethu eKapa. To the protocol observed. Okay, umamkhulu ezba uthozama isitsho ba besimbiza umamkhulu, whether you are a great grandchild, you are a grandchild, you are a nephew, umtshana yonke into, sonke besimbiza umamkhulu. So ebesithi xa ifikayo ke eCape Town, aze for shows zakhe, and then ufumaniseke bamhlambi bekubhizi kakhulu kanga fumani ixesha loze ekhaya, but on her way to the airport abaxelele ba 116 ndisenekhaya ndiyobulisa, afika abulise aphuze wonke umuntu, ndinqamile iplane yanishiya ahambe aye airport. Now xa efika airport ufika kukho umzukulwana wakhe.
It's just this whole rushing into thing doesn't feel right, man. Look, why are you so obsessed about having a baby anyway?
The school policies and regulations.
Who is that? Who is this? Ati umzukulwana wami lo. Athi mamela ke mntanami. Uzondikalela iAmstel. Apha. Ndithi mamkhulu ndisemsebenzini andizukwazi ukugala iAmstel. Bakhona usisi abancedayo apha elounge. Athi ndithi uzondikalela iAmstel. Andifuna ugalelwa ngabantwana endingabaziyo mna. Galela wena galela. Simbamkhulu bathi ngikwazi uphatha iAmstel mina. Ndisemsebenzini. Athi galela iAmstel. Ndiyithathe ke iAmstel ndiyivule. Ndiyigalele. Ndiyagalela ke mna ke. Igwebu umntana ndini. Ayifuneki ibe negwebu. Sekaloka ndiyazi that sebengafuna ukugalelela. But that's how she was xa ifike airport, and then she would like notice me and then kiss and hugs and all that. Abanye bathe nga uyaphapha. Awanda into ufuna ntoni kuma uthanda Klassen. Uyazithanda izinto lentombazana. But I couldn't explain to everybody. And then xa ifikayo afikele 113 kukho ineighbor kamakhulu wethu engusisindabiseng. Afike ke phako sisindabiseng a prefer ushula lapha yana sisindabiseng usoloke emlungiselela kubekho iflowers kubekho ifruits, so bethanda uhoyo mamkhulu kakhulu befuna ibreakfast ibonakala ba ibreakfast xa ifikile. So ke thina we like kaloku apha endlini ngumakhulu and ke ngoku asikwazi ukuqoquzela. Yeah, right, uNthabiseng ukhona. So njengoba besine family meeting coming preparing to come to Joburg, so we were sharing the stories ke ngomakhulu bayangixelela bathi hayi ngenye imini upha kwaSinthabiseng pha next door kwa number 6. So ucaba uSinthabiseng usapheka taking her own time. So wakangena apha khona ke ngokwe cousin bakhe usisidoli noMangwane. So athi ke ngoxa bafika batshele epanini bayasherisha lento bayityayo ifrying pan bayatya. Athi ulambile yitya kaloku hayi ndizuyenza lento leyo utshele epanini andizutya lento nityayo mna hayi I'd rather wait for Nthabiseng. I know she's preparing a good meal for me. So ebengulo muntu njalo, and then ebebathanda abamelwane basekhaya kuzo zonke izindlu zasekhaya eseCape Town ebethandwa kakhulu. Uthi ke ngoku kuthiwa xa mbalisela umakhulu bathi bekho inja bekuthiwa nguRuby. So umakhulu ke ngoku uyayihlamba ke ngokulenja ayihlamba yayilungisa igcwele isepha isemanzini. Athi gqi ke ngoku omnye wokhazini bakhe umakhulu ucikizwa athathe lenja ayigxothe inja isuki yohlala esandini acaphuka umamkhulu uba le njengokube igqibo ihlamba seyiphinde yabamdaka kanti wenza ntoni icikiza abantu bangenathando lenja yintoni uyenzayo so bahlekiswe yiloo nto leyo and then esikolweni bebethanda ukuthi xa sithi hayi siyazalana nothanda iklasini bathi hayi nithanda izinto so each and every time kukho umngcwabo efemelini she will always compose a song ngalaa mntu uswelekileyo ayiqamba ngoku ame apha estagini something not prepared so one of my uncles osweleke ngo-97 umile ke ngoku umamkhulu phayana ulungiselela uthiwa uzothetha umamkhulu vele eRhawutini umamkhulu nakwecula besimbiza i-nickname yakhe umalume yami bengubhanana athi umamkhulu banana 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 I loved you my son banana abenendaba ezithi hey banana 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 so esikolweni besiyigezelwa ngaloo nto uba yho umakhulu wenu sade sambona even nangoku besiprepareshizela apha kufacebook bathetha ngaloo nto uba yho sikhumbula laa ngoma kabhanana ngoku iyabuya uba so abantu endandifunda nabo bebe-curious bebefuna ukubona uba nyhani ngumakhulu wenu na so they all went to our family funeral just to witness that we are related to Thandi Klassen so bethunana uhambile uMazikhali uhambile uJojo uhambile uTiyeka uhambile uButsolo bentonga sithi hamba ke ntombazana omamcindi balindile phambili ukhokho unomva ukhokho unokuthetha bayilungisile indlela zi-umbrella zefamily zethu ezo si-protected njena kungenxa yabo and before nihlale phansi I want to acknowledge the spirit of the late cousin wam uVusumzi on my way to Cape Town for the very first time after uVusumzi eswelekile I had a picture kaVusumzi ubuso bakhe njengoba bunjalo and for a while I was like confused ukuthi ubani kanene lo and then xa sengibona iifoto endlini nguVusumzi lo and I'm thinking malume I should mention into yoba Vusumzi is here with us enkosi
Let's give the usually Twa ladies a round of applause. Thank you. Usually Twa is Google too. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to call upon SABC Marokane, a very close friend and a real child to Sis Thandi. Anybody and everybody who's had an experience with Mam Thandi will always have that indelible impression in one's mind permanently. May her soul rest in peace. I am announce my departure because I was just holding fort and Mr. The Kid Sitole is here. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thandi Klassen, popularly known as Mam Thandi. She's no more. Thank you, Program Director, the bereaved family, distinguished guests, neighbors, friends globally, honorable jazz artists, jazz collectors, jazz appreciators, protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. We are gathered here today to celebrate Sis Thandi's last departure. May her soul rest in peace. In 2014, I attended a Montreal Jazz Festival and I stayed at Lorraine's home. In my stay, I visited Miles Davis Museum. I bought a book entitled 3 Wishes. It is about the jazz greats being interviewed. Oliver Jones, whom I met, was asked, "What were your 3 wishes?" His response was, peace on earth. Complete acceptance and recognition of jazz music as pure art form. Elimination of poverty and diseases. Randy Winston. Complete freedom throughout the world. More emphasis on art, music, poetry, and paintings. To see an end of suffering for jazz artists, just to name a few. Then I posed the same questions to Sis Thandi. Her response: to be successful musically, to have more gigs, to have a family, to have a happy family, and leave a good legacy. She added one: to have crazy friends like you, Mzamo, Mzito, and Phil Mayeza. If time was not a rare commodity, I will speak volumes about Sis Thandi. The gifted singer with a velvet voice and a perfect pitch. She's been wowing the audience for many decades globally. Her style, unique, different, distinctive, delightful, pure and undiluted. A master at craving lyrics that speaks to the heart and soul, expressing ordinary themes in an extraordinary way. Frank Sinatra did it his way. Thandi did it her way. In her musical journey, she could inject more power, passion, anger, pain into her performances than any other singer currently active on the international jazz scene. In the mid-50s, she began to make a mark as a highly talented singer. She had a fruitful musical collaboration with Count Judge, Lulu Gonzalez, Glenn Mafoko, Hugh Masekela, Kefas Saminya, Woodwood Peckers, Moses Mulelekwa, Kelly Petlani, Stompy Mavi, Stompy Manana, Mike Makhalimele, the Jazzland, and mostly with Mankunku Ngozi and Dimpy Shabalala, who has been her pillar together with Nimrod Mzamo and Jonah. They were always around, come rain or shine, not forgetting the Mzansi divas. I salute Abigail Kubega. She's been there for Sis Thandi and in touch with the daughter, Lorraine Klaasen. In 2014, Lorraine organized a well-attended show, the theme, Mother and Daughter Celebrating 100 Years in Showbiz. It was held at Oscar Peterson Auditorium in Canada. She got a standing ovation all the way. What a show. Lorraine, you loved your mom, and your mom loved you and Makosini dearly. What I like most about Sis Thandi, she was multi-talented. In her collaboration with various artists, she would lead them musically. Like I remember with Mankunku Ngozi, may his soul rest in peace. And Thandi will say, Woza, Mankunku. And Mankunku will blow his horn. And in response, Thandi will say, hi, I didn't say that. Second attempt, Thandi will say to Mankunku, don't be fresh with me. I could go on and on. She will always be remembered. We thank God for having blessed us with Sis Thandi for the last 86 years. Family, friends, neighbors, weep not, weep not, weep not. She's not dead, she's gone home. Resting in the bosom of our Lord Jesus Christ. May her soul rest in peace. God bless.
Thank you very much for the wonderful tribute. There's on the program, there's Umama Ellen Kumalo. As preparer, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Minister Natim Tetwa, Ogu Arts and Culture Ministry, Honorable MEC Wetu, Walai Gauteng Provincial Government, Umama Faith Mazibugo. You are all welcomed. Ukhona Mam Ellen Kumalo. Usis Thandi wasiculela. ngibhimbi kwi State of the City address wathi labe licho lisithi imini imkile jilo imnandi lonjolo babembethe ingubo ezimhlophe babembethe ingubo ezibomvu labe licho lisithi ilitili in The body was frail, but the voice was dynamic. Without any waste of time, if Ma'am Ellen Khumalo is not here, I must show emotions because that's how we felt in the last State of the City address as councillors. After being addressed by this dynamic woman, very awesome woman. It's not a sign of weakness. We are now going to move to an area which actually needs protocol. Our former State President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Thabo Mbeki, will also pay tribute to this legend. I will therefore call upon our Honorable Executive Mayor, Councillor Mzwandile Masina, to come and do the necessary protocol as our former State President prepares himself to come to the podium.
Thank you very much, Program Directors, Madam Speaker of Council. I'm also tempted to say all protocol observed because of time. Allow me, the family of Ma'am Thandi Klassen, and the community of Ekurhuleni, Gauteng, South Africa, and the rest of the world, to introduce the son of the African National Congress, the intellectual, the son of the communist, Utata wethu Babu Thabo Mbeki, confidante of O.R. Tambo, a statesman and intellectual who over time has proven that indeed the African National Congress is a liberation movement. His work as a freedom fighter, as a prisoner, as an exile, demonstrated his courage, commitment, and resilience to the freedom of the people of this country. I'm introducing to you no stranger, our father, our president, our leader, the president of the Republic, the president of the African National Congress, who thought it was fit to also come and pay tribute, and the family and ourselves who are really, really honored to have Isitalande, who has served our movement and our country for over 61 years as he takes the podium. Thank you very much, Zizi.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I think if all of you have got the program, and as you can see, I don't appear anywhere on this program. No, this is because we came not to speak, but to be present when all of us say farewell to Sis Thandi. But I'm told by the mayor that Sis Lorraine insisted that I should speak. You know, many years ago, we had to change the national orders Because when we came into government, we inherited the national orders from the old order. So you had an order of the Cape of Good Hope, Southern Cross, and things like that. And we thought, no, the country needed a different identity. And so you needed a different set of national orders, in the same way that you need a new flag, a new national anthem. It's part of this new identity. So as we're discussing this, we agreed that one of these orders must celebrate service to the people. Selfless service to the people. That we needed this, people with that kind of attribute. Multi-talented, but very, very willing to give these talents, to use these talents to benefit the people. That those people needed to be celebrated. They needed to be celebrated as our heroes and heroines, as distinguished South Africans. So once we agreed to this, then we said, now this thing needs a symbol. Because you know, some countries, you'll find this, other countries, they celebrate this service to the people. And so you'll find, they would call it, for instance, the Distinguished Service Order. But I'm sure Don Matera will agree with me, that doesn't sound too exciting. You know, once many, many years ago, Botswana celebrated its 10th anniversary of independence. And they invited as a special guest Mobutu Sese Seko from what was called Zaire. And there you had the late President Sretzakama announcing these orders at a state function as part of the celebrations. And they had this order for distinguished service. Then Mobutu came. And he was going to give an order to Sretzakama. And what was striking about this? Well, first of all, Mobutu, he asked everybody to stand, to drink a toast. So, of course, all of us stood. And then his toast was to pour a libation. So he says, to the gods. So that was his toast. And then he says, by virtue of such and such a section of the Constitution of the Republic of Zaire, I hereby award Sretzakama the Order of the Leopard. So everybody stood and gave a standing ovation. I'm saying that was so much better than the Order for Distinguished Service. So when we had to think about this, what will symbolize this outstanding service to the people? We said it would be the baobab tree. Out and does lots and lots of good things to people. And so that's why in 2006 we decided that Thandi Klassen should get the Order of the Baobab. In gold. The highest order in terms of service to the people.
So I thought I should come today just to say farewell to this distinguished member of the Order of the Baobab, to say once again to her, thank you very much for everything you've done for our people. And to say to her, let her rest in peace. I'm absolutely certain. I'm certain that none of us, as South Africans, will ever forget her. Thanks, Sis Lorraine and Roger. Thanks.
Cela sisukume sishayene izandla. It's a great honor to have our former state president of the Republic of South Africa amongst the Mr. I will request, as we're going to sing, you may be seated, as we're going to read the obituary, Stellam a choir. Both choirs must come, basheshise, Raputlak. While Usisu Prudence Mbambani is lungsela, Uguzofundi obituary. Stella Guti, a choir is Sondel. Both choirs. Dilubambe ngesandla ndiyongena nalo ekhaya ezulwini. Dilubambe ngesandla
May you please stand up? Thandi Nelly Mpambane Klassen was born on the 18th of September 1931 in Sophia Town. He was the first of 7 children of the late Mr. William Mpambane, who was a shoemaker, and Evelyn Thandi, a domestic worker. She married the late Mr. Lucas Klaasen. As a young primary school girl in Sophia Town, Thandi Klassen was inspired to become a jazz singer when a group called the Jazz Moniacs visited her school. She began her career singing in local churches and formed her own female quartet, the Quad Sisters. Then in her teens, it seemed her career might be short-lived when she was attacked with a petrol bomb that permanently disfigured her face. As a result, she was forced to spend a year in hospital and struggled to regain her self-confidence to perform in front of an audience. The irrepressible jazz artist persevered with an iron will and continued to sing, performing with the great divas of the day, Miriam Makeba, Dolly Ratebe, Dorothy Masuku, and Sophie Mgcina. In the 1960s, she starred in the internationally acclaimed musical King Kong. Like many of her contemporaries, she decided to go abroad to pursue her passion as apartheid was closing down all opportunities for black artists. Here she performed with many international stars, among them Roberta Flack and Patti LaBelle, and steadily gained a reputation as a jazz icon. All the while, she stayed close to her roots, still often use Ekasi lingo, the colloquial dialect that was spoken in her hometown. Thandi Klassen was awarded South Africa's Order of the Boab in gold achievement in the contribution in the art of music. Other honors include the Standard Bank Lifetime Achievement Award, the Woman of Distinction Award received in Canada, and a Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2006 African Music Awards. She lived her life with vigor to the fullest, graced many jazz stages locally and internationally, and touched the hearts of countless people. She is survived by her youngest brother, Tami Mpambane, 2 children, Roger Mpambane and Lorraine Klassen, 5 grandchildren, and 7 great-grandchildren. May your joyous soul rest in peace. You will be forever missed by the myriad of lives you have touched across the world. We will love you always, Smagadi.
No.
Thank you very much from both choirs, that is SABC choir and Eguruleni Metropolis choir. So thank you very much. You may be seated and Telabuti Suge stage. I will now hand over to the core program director, Tate Kit Sitole. Thank you. Thank you very much. Here we're sending off a person of Thandi mpilo. Let us mourn her death, but celebrate a life well lived. Before we start going next program, I would like to inform the House that Utata wetu, Honorable Thabo Mbeki, uzawuhamba because he has other international commitments. As he does that, I request that we stand and simnikeze the necessary respect as he leaves us. Not now, he's not going now. When he stands up, I needed to announce that. When he stands up, a puma, not now. When he stands up, a puma, that's when we'll do that. At the moment, he's still going to be with us.
The late would have said, the onze president, the dier moet nou kleren. Ik zal net een slot voor laten kleren. En we zouden shalom, mama. Now you are out of order, sister. VJ. You come no yes, you put them in twag. Mankoli sebazalba mukfike mpakwe thuba. Umndeni bos arrange ibhasi kusuka eDubele. Ibhasi ya misbehave ngewash. Ngiyaxolisa kakhulu. Ngiyaxolisa kakhulu. Angazi noma mhlambi ibhasi beyibulawa na ukuthi kukhona kilograms of this nature. I'm not sure. We'll try, somebody said it here, I think the mayor, all protocol observed. But because manga kalang in Balenong. Iswam nga Professor Moya, umfunis man and the team yake, minister bautu, minister of arts and culture, minister of religion, but venebok. So when you start, what do you do? So protocol observe. Agreed? Council agreed? I'm going to request that we ask the three speakers to follow each other. I'm not going to say anything in between because it's Sabubanza ungena kule kerga lo mama iwash lilimale more. the President of the Cultural and Creative Industry Federation of South Africa, Tony Kgoroge, Mpasa Representative Blondie Machene, the cultural activist, and the chairperson of the Living Legends Legacy Program, Ubrawel, welcome, Temba Msomi, should be following each other just like that. And later on will then be joined by homeboy wake, Ubradon Matera, and zonke zazikhuluma nge-first part eSophia, Melaiti, you must up. I just see that in my cake. What's the way razor, why chef? You must the Black Swans roll. Do you have lady or the good street? Jay Buchanan, just end van the Bogoros, elegant folk. After the three speakers, we're then going to have the giants of the spoken word, Babu Don Matera and Dr. Wallace Rote, following each other in that order. Can I ask then the three? Kgoroge, Machene, Msomi, please come forward so that I'm not going to come in between. You just follow each other in that. Fortunately, Tony has with direction, Ambajan. He wouldn't fluff a simple direction like that. He's a respectable artist.
Thank you, Program Director. I think I will follow suit by saying all protocol observed. I am the president of CIVSA, which is the Creative Cultural Industry Federation of South Africa. I mainly look after all or anything that has to do with creativity. And in this instance, Thandi Klassen belongs to us. Thandi Klassen is one of us. We celebrate this icon. We had a wonderful day yesterday where all bands from young and old were celebrating her through song, through dance, and making sure that we fare her well in a way that she will appreciate. Thandi, we understand as young as we are that she comes from Sophia Town. And Sophia Town is a place where creatives and the thinkers of the time, the political thinkers and social thinkers of the time, used to gather together. And that's when you then see and realize that through songs that Thandi used to sing as the first generation of our urban music, through their songs you will hear the consciousness of the time, and through their song you will hear the spirit of the time. And I would wish that we as young people, we also come closer to the thinkers. We come closer to those who are crafting path for us so that we can be able to grab that consciousness and that spirit, so that when we sing or when we act or when we craft or when we paint, we exactly do the same. Because Thandi, they crafted a way for us that is beautiful. They made us to see that it is possible to be on international stages. It is possible to sing at the places where you used to dream of and you could never be. And it is also possible for you to be awarded as an artist coming from the background that they came from. So that is why we hold the spirit very dearly. And I look at us today and I'm thinking, we're all dressed very well, we look beautiful, and everything that we are wearing, it is through an artist mind or a creative mind that designed the clothes that you are wearing. But yet, we ask ourselves, why is it that our fashion designers are not living the life? When you came here driving, you probably listened to a song in your car, or when you were coming out from home, playing music. And our musicians, we cannot say they live the life. But yet music is played every single day, every hour, every minute, and every second. If you look into our houses, if you go inside your living room or anywhere else, there will be a painting on the wall or a picture or something. But yet our painters, they don't live that. I don't want to go deeper into those kind of issues. These are the issues that the activists like Thandi used to ask these questions. And these are the questions as the creative and cultural industry that we have to answer and make sure that we change the status quo. Mayor, I would like to say thank you very much, sir, for what you have done. Thank you for doing this. But we still say, as you develop the city, Ekurhuleni needs a place of fun. It needs a place of creativity. It needs a place that can reflect the person who's Thandi, who's sitting here with us. And Mayor, we are saying that that place must be a multi-purpose cultural center to reflect the spirit of the lady who's lying here today, who are so multi-talented. And the multi-purpose cultural center, can it please be named Thandi Klassen Art Center? Thank you.
Bagolo ka Setswana ne clareng kapa ka Sezulu ke reng ngiyanthokozisa abadala ngiyanthokozisa amakhomanda wami ngokulandelana kwezihlalo zenu. I'm standing here today and I just feel like saying Kwalandini. No, I mean, like we had plans, Goko. I mean, Joe Shy short left in Nesonje, yes. No, man.
My colleague.
I am
doing,
the
man?
National
Nice
Secretary
meeting you. Thank you
of
for
Music Performers Association of South Africa. We've been planning Nokoko. I just spoke to Doc Shebeleza yesterday, and sometimes you forget the things that you do. There's a house. What we do, we work with another organization that is called Amaha. And Doc Shebeleza, a young man who thought that it is time for somebody to take cognizance of legends, because the young man realized that once you hit your star and then you come down and then you come down like the star and you're forgotten like the star. So he used to invite us, Libosis Thandi, Libosis Ebi, and a few other of our legends, and would say, guys, I have managed to raise funds. And Amaha, an organization which I was Secretary General of, is building houses for people across the country. And we would go out and check and see who are the most needy. And we'd take them out of their cuckoos. One of the aunties was like on a wheelchair, and when it rained, even the wheelchair couldn't keep the rain out. And we went and we took her out of that mkuku and we put her in a house. And that house is called Thandi Klassen. Well, I'll still have a house in my name, don't worry. So, as Mbasa, we reached out to Thandi, and I just want to also pass my special thanks to a very special person, a very special gift, whom without Thandi's Christmas, my Christmas, and many other legends' Christmas would have been very, very black. Ntate Claudi, Amandla Commander, Sawuqhuba lo mshikashika. We are going to turn 90% play into 90% pay. Yeah. You know what happens, Muzan, with us? You release one song, and once it gets out of your hand, it's in 5 pieces. Yeah, there's so-and-so waiting to take his card, so-and-so waiting to take his card. So instead of you getting 90%, you get 10%. So we talked to Ukoko, and yes, Koko, I'm quite yes. No, serious. She was about to start as being an ambassador of one of our sponsors, somebody who just rose up and says, Batu Batu Sanse Bakopane, and I am sick and tired of bearing, I'm an artist, I'm a pauper. And this man from B3, he said, I want to walk with you, but I don't just want to bury you, but I want to see to your well-being. And Thandi was supposed to be the music legend brand ambassador for B3, which he was a member of. And you get a free insurance policy, and Ukoko at her age, she would have monthly groceries, and she would have a stipend for being a brand ambassador. So we don't talk politics at Mbasa, we do things. So Mama, thank you, Koko. Thank you for me. I thank you for me. Because I'm a reserved person. When I was a youngster, so I kept to my, not because I'm reserved, but because as a society, see normal, yabo? So crazy people like this lady and this guy, they kind of find it hard, you know, to exist in this normal society. So when I found her as a young man, you know, she was singing with my elder sister, Pam, jazz. And when I found her and I met this woman, for the first time in my life as a young kid, I was comfortable in my skin, not of course in my complexion, in my skin. I was comfortable in who I am and what I was. Koko, hamba khetla, kota upinde ubuye, because there's no time to rest in peace khetla lam. Ijobe ke hambile, kufanele siphushe lo mshikashika. We must bring, as we say, we must empower the music maker. We must empower and transform, because the music industry is still operating under the rules and the laws of apartheid. Sizoqhuba lo mshikashika koko. Kala manje, amandla!
You want to use this one? Sure. No. Hey. Yeah. Yeah, these are my legends, you see. And to the former state president, Mr. Thabo Mbeki, the Minister of Arts and Culture, Nyambose, the executive mayor, the Klassen family, nabefundisi, umfundisi Mehana, mabeculo ufuna bafaka endaweni ezithile baculele. Living Legends, ngeke ngithathe isikhathi esiningi about Living Legends, which was an idea of the Minister of Arts and Culture, Mr. Nathi Mthethwa, where he allowed the legends to choose their trustees. And what is important about the Living Legends is about preserving the legacy. It is about bringing the legacy of the Living Legends to young people, because we seem to get lost. We seem to lose the kind of history that has been created and developed. So far, we've done amazing master classes all over the country, from Mpumalanga to KZN to Cape Town to Gauteng. And we've had people like Babsim Langeni, Abdullah Ibrahim, Kaifa Semenya, Mrs. Leta Mbulu, Mrs. Abigail, Mrs. Dorothy, Mahotela Queens. And we are going to continue to build on all these legacies. And Mrs. Thandi was one of those legends. And there was no way we could walk away, look away, because she is one of those who created the path of a celebration and celebrating the African spirit in song and music, in craft, and all the other things. So we then said we have to do something special for Mrs. Thandi. And also, just 1 minute, in that at times when you see, when you have ikhulu, eining, we call uyibala nezinye. Yabona usis Faith Mazibuko ngathi angibizi mawufuna imali la kumina ngikuyithola, you know. So sengithi angikubeke lokho. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do something very special. And my brother Don Matera uthi akafuna ukuhlala esihlalweni because you're strong.
Eita. Ah, je les morros, je les hola. Ni eita. Mine will be just 1 minute. What we have here is a powerful human being. What came out of Sophia Town is history. Today, Sophia Town has not have the life that this young, beautiful woman, who's my senior by 4 years, from Taka Street, the neighbors of Bahama Mashile, Bapedi. Honale ma India, le ma China, le bom mixed blood, te rona ba re bitsa makhala, te a gona ntho eo. Re ma Africa. Re ma Africa. So we had a language. Accept cherry, jemot notch and touch. A globe and coffee feet town, cherry fan me, jemot notch. Say never a notch me. Because she did not need protection. This was a queen. And she had a free spirit, which we inherited. Natim Tetua is right. She taught us how to be free. Maburu batlile I nearly said Masepa. I won't say it. I won't say it. I won't say it. I won't say it. But Wutwa, Hina, she was a woman for everyone. When she jumped onto the stage with Utuba Tuba, Bachaiva, hi, the rains fell down. And when she is in the mood, she says, don't know why, there's no sun up in the sky, stormy weather. This, you don't get this quality anymore. What we have to do as living legends, and which we are doing through the auspices of the government of South Africa, through Natim Tetwa and his team, Os Tembiso Nabanya, it's life is a race. There is no tape that you can wing through and say, I've won. There are no medals and trophies. It's on your marks, get set, ready, before you go. Like this woman, turn around to see who you can take with you. Take somebody with you. Our country needs more compassion, which she had. Our country needs more caring love. Don Matera says in a poem, I see them every day, everywhere, non-people in non-transition, moving, shifting, but going nowhere, trapped in twilight zones of vacuous expectation, waiting between nothing and nothing. I see them, I know them, I am among them, seeking veracity, but trapped on the periphery of foreign norms and values and doublespeak. What we need is the foundation of this woman to bring the children in so that we, with the little knowledge that we have as living legends, can impart. There is no pain quite like being unloved, unwanted, among one's own, in one's own land. So what we have to do from today is to say from now onwards, I will try to live the life that she lived. There is one God. There is one nation. There are no four nations in the country. One nation. And we have to live it. In the church, we have to give what Jesus said. If it was so, I would have told you. Yeah, so God bless you. And to the family, what a great family. May God touch us, change us, give us the understanding of caring love and healing compassion.
She's Thandi. I'm trying to think what one does with another's neck. I'm trying to imagine. Sis Thandi, not so long ago, you and your peers hovered like tall trees next to the horizon. You kept together like guinea fowls, as our people say, because you eat together. And your voices in unison rang and rambled and roared and sang all over our land, reached out to our continent and the world. You did so, leaving traces and tidbits of who we are in far places where people had to ask, who are these people? Remember King Kong? At times you became the African diaspora in song, reminding us of our greatest tragedy and the victories we won against the greatest crime and odds to be faced by the human race. Sis Thandi and the other museos, you sang and sang and sang and blessed us to remind that we must know ourselves. You forever reminded us that we people your songs with our lives. You in unison together, like guinea fowls, you kept together, pace for pace, on and on about our lives, leaving nothing about what we experienced. So many of you with you, as your voices chimed at times as if in ululation, and yet in other times in medleys, melodies with music on stages of festivals, here and all over the world. You, Sis Thandi, you kept the faith. You made your voices to curl and dangle and look and hang over us as you sang about who we are as a people. Tirelessly, you, the musos, repeated and repeated and repeated to remind us, no matter the odds, remember, you created culture, histories, traditions, and values as should all people on earth. You have left fingerprints, you said, on the great canvas of the human race and experience. Sis Thandi, here we are now. You are alone in your sealed box, still and quiet. You know a lot about the sweet and bitter things and tastes of life. You do. At 86, you must. And one morning, you decided, I, Thandi, must go now. Very soon, as we put your box over the hole in which you will stay, where your body will vanish from us forever, we feel so belittled before this untidy act, this moment. Yes, this space and place where we must leave you. We did not choose, but perhaps you chose. We look over our shoulder knowing that you are not here now. You have left. It is so empty where you have been, where you were. When it is so startling and revealing, when we feel so helpless before what took you, we think about you, and out of helplessness and hope, we laugh quietly. We know you are so capable there where you are now, to crack a joke, since we are so serious, soul-men and sad, and so helpless among these heaps of soil that will be around soon, which quietly, but for sure, scattered as they are, underneath them, whole histories are shut. Things we know and things we do not know lie still quietly under those heaps. Briefly, so briefly, you remind us to look at this space and to look at ourselves. But I can also hear you call out in jest, you lady of raw humor. I can hear you call out and say, hela kanti wat khanano. Enjoyla hampi eh. Li etsang ke level me here loss. What are you doing putting me in this hole? Our Sis Thandi. We will laugh even when we are sad. That even as we know you loved us so, we did hurt you. We remember so. We hurt you very badly. We left such terrible scars on your being. Good Lord, if we could say we will never ever do such again, we would say, Sis Thandi, forgive us. We are sorry, Sis Thandi. Maybe, just maybe, we can learn from you and all this, that after everything else has been done and said, all we must be left tidily, and that we must remember it is only love that remains with us. Do accept our word of love too, and we have learned from hurting you, but we have also learned from knowing you and loving you. Rari, robala ka khotso, sesi.
Well, as tributes continue to pour in for the late Thandi Klaasen, there are many others who have also come here to pay tribute and say goodbye to the jazz diva, as some of them have referred to her as scores of people continue to pour into the hall here in Alberton to pay their last respects. Don't forget, straight from after this prayer service, the procession will leave from here and go to the Thomas Nkobi Cemetery, where Thandi Klaasen will be buried near the struggle stalwart Chris Hani. Let's chat to some of the other divas as well within the music industry. Mayor Yvonne Chaka Chaka, thank you so much for your time this morning. Your fondest memories of Thandi Klaasen?
Thank you, Griselda, for having me. I think I'm just one of those lucky young musicians who got to know Thandi very well. I started rehearsing at Doke House from as early as 1985, and I wish to thank Mekwineth Ndaba, who introduced me to Abo Mam Thandi Klassen, Abo Mam Utogo. They used to call her Sophie Mgcina. So I was very close to all the older musicians, and to Mam Thandi, you were either a clever or a mugu. Yeah.
So, what is it, what remains for you from Thandi Klaasen and what she stood for? Many said she remained true to herself from the very beginning until the end. She was very proud of where she came from. Even if she performed in America, she made sure that people knew she was from Africa.
Absolutely. Thandi did not want to be anything else. She knew that she was South African and she was proudly African. I remember one time when she sat and told me her story, how she got banned, and every time I think of her, I remember she said this lady came and all I heard, this is when she was telling me, I heard hack, and she said I don't know what happened and they burned her. But I loved Thandi, and I'm just so sad that the very same SABC that did not celebrate her when she was alive today is bidding her farewell. Things do change though. I think we should start practicing what we preach. We need to celebrate our people when they're alive. We need to do what we're supposed to be doing as people. It's actually said in South Africa that we love people when they are gone. We've got our living legends, Abo Mam Dorothy, Abo Mam Abigail, whom we're supposed to be showing our children today when they are alive. It's actually said that today we are here celebrating her and bidding her farewell live on television when she was alive. Nobody showed her on TV. I find it very hypocritical.
I think it would also be quite opportune as well, perhaps, Mami Yvonne. We've also heard sad news this morning about the passing of Lundi Yamaha, and I think as musicians, fellow musicians, you would also want to pay tribute to him.
Well, I think Libitolaka, they call me Kidisaleti or Kidiboni. Lundi is one of those boys who, when he was in trouble, he would call me. And Tsepo would always say, Mom, can you call Lundi and tell him to go to the show? And I would call Lundi and say, Lundi, you have to go to the show. Lundi was like one of my other kids as well. So to the family, I'd want to say, may his soul rest in peace. He was challenged like any other person, just like all of us. We live in this world, we're all challenged. And he was a very good musician, and nobody has to judge anybody. God is the only person to judge us. And I want to say, let his soul rest in peace.
All right. Thank you very much, Mayor Yvonne Chaka. Let's also get Mayor Sibongile as well, perhaps so we can chat to take the opportunity as well, just before we go back into Ms. Bongile, if you could please just join us this morning as well. You're also here to pay tribute to Mayor Thandi Klaasen. Your fondest memories of Thandi Klaasen?
How much time do you have? Quite a lot actually. I mean, Thandi is somebody that I wouldn't exactly say one lived with her, but when you were in her space, you remembered to live, as Gloria Bosman said in a post. And Thandi was that kind of person. Every time, every moment you spend with her, you are aware of where you are aware of what you're doing, you are aware of what you're saying, because she would challenge you and say, that kind of thing. But I guess the one that sticks to my mind actually was the very first time she came to a concert I did at Gippy's in the early 90s. And she came, and you can imagine the shock I had to see her in my audience, because I was nothing really then. I was just trying to find my way around the industry. And she came up to me at interval and says, "You mntanam ucula kamandi." And that stayed with me, because what she was basically saying, or what I took away from that statement, was that respect your audience, never take your audience for granted. Whatever you're doing, however, the way you present yourself is critical. The way you present yourself is important, because people have taken their time and they've spent their money to come and check you out.
All right, thank you very much. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for, Ms. Bongile. Just some of the veterans in the music industry paying tribute to Thandi Klaasen for, the diva that she was. Many are saying here that South Africa needs to appreciate more the musicians while they are still alive. And I think certainly many will be looking to see how that legacy of Thandi Klaasen's, will continue, how government perhaps will play its own role in keeping that legacy alive. I think let's just go back inside the hall now, where the tributes continue to pour in for Thandi Klaasen.
Yeah. The next song we're going to do Outstanding Town, and it is sung by Zanele Dlamini. Zanele played Outstanding in a play that featured three of them. Each actor was playing each person. So Zanele played Outstanding in this musical that was done last year, November, at the Market Theatre.
See the people standing in the doorway. See the bright light on the summer night. I can hear the music from Sis Fenty's bar. I can see my past passing by. I had no chance to say goodbye to romance. I had no time to leave it all behind. It was a place I knew where my dreams came true until they broke it down. So fire down. I can hear the music from Fenty's bar. I can hear the wind before the storm. I can see police on the winter night, breaking down the place where I was born. I had no chance to say goodbye to romance. I had no time to leave it all behind. It was a place I knew where my dreams came true until they broke it down. So fire down. It was a place I knew where my dreams came true until they broke it down. So fire down.
The next one, Abigail Kupeka sings My Way, the way Thandi used to sing this song. Sis Thandi, there it is, Your Way by Abigail Kupeka.
Thandi would have said if she could have Jelikenvat. And now the end is here, and I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear. I'll state my case, of which I am certain. Yes, I've lived a life that's full, and I've traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Yes. Regrets. Yes, I've had a few. But then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, and I saw it through without exemption. Yes, I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this. I did it Thandi's way. Oh yes, there were times I'm sure you knew when I bit off much more than I could chew. But then again, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. The record shows I took the blows and did it Thandi's way. When I bit off much more than I could chew. But then again, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. How they burnt my face, but I stood tall and
now we're gonna do Back of the Moon. Ons gaan nou groove nou. Kodwa abstan. Angela moet bietjie shake, nee. Ningahlali phansi. Abstan. Ek sê, julle moet jy weet. I mean, julle nooit mos, nee, julle nwaza. Ja, julle moet bietjie dans. Julle moet nie sit nie, julle moet nie moeg is nie.
Like a pea, boom, boom, down a mountain stream. Like paper riding in the breeze. Like strolling in the dark through streets you know.
People can feel free as these. People being what they please. People being easy. Letting go and letting go. Oh, back of the moon, boys, back of the moon, boys. Stop shipping and shopping, keys the back of the moon. End of the day, boys, up with your pay, boys. Spread it out the back of the moon. Oh, the floor starts shaking when the place gets packed. And chairs are breaking and the glasses crack. The night is in front, the day's left behind. Back of the moon is where the folks let go. Oh, back of the moon, boys, back of the moon, boys. Right in front is the back of the moon.
Back of the moon, boy. Drop that roo-ba-roo-ba-roo. Hey, Thandi, sleep well. Oh, Lisa.
Oh, the floor starts shaking when the place gets packed. And chairs are breaking and the glasses crack. The night is in front, the days are behind. Back of the moon is where the folks let go. Oh, back of the moon, boys, back of the moon, boys. Right in front is the back of the moon, yeah.
Back of the moon, boys, back of the moon, boys. Some Chilean and Joe back is the back of the moon. Hot time, wanna have a ball. Night in front is the back of the moon.
Back of the moon, boys. Don't ship in the door, but he's the back of the moon. Night, day, let the music sun. Woo! Let the music play. Back of the moon, boys. Don't ship in the door, but he's the back of the moon. Night, day, let the music play. Woo! Let the music play. Back of the moon, boys. Don't ship in the door, but he's the back of the moon. Night, day, let the music play. Woo! Let the music play. Back of the moon, boys. Don't ship in the door, but he's the back of the moon. Night, day, let the music play. Let the music play. At the back of the moon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can you please position ubaba ukuthi yame kuphi? Well, tributes continue to pour in here for the late Thandi Klaasen, and many others, of course, are also here to say thank you very much to her for her contribution to the music industry. And one of those is Ntate Hot Sticks. And Ntate Hot Sticks, you're here today to pay tribute as well to this great woman. Your fondest memories, I think it's a question I've been asking everyone to give us some details so that we could get, a sense of exactly who Thandi Klaasen was.
Well, Griselda, I think one of the first things that I'd really like to say is that Lundi must rest in peace, and we bless his soul, and we're thankful for what he's done. And coming to Sis Thandi, I regard myself as one of those who had been privileged to have worked with her as a young musician. And one of the things that she taught us was that you're either a professional musician or you're not. In the way that you conduct yourself, in the way that you go on stage and perform, and how you just present yourself to the public. And one of the things that he taught us, as the Beaters, we used to tour with some of the groups like Percy Sledge, Brooke Benton, and in one of those tours, we came on as hippies on stage, and we were dressed up like hippies and performing. She said, "You are not going to come on stage and back me up looking like we've just picked you up in the streets." And that's something that remained with us for some time, because then we realized that the stage is not somewhere where you just think you can just rock up and looking like anybody that's picked you up. And since then, and one thing that Sis Thandi used to be like was to tell it as it is.
Yes.
You either like what she said or you don't. But she was one of the most honest, forthright people, that you'd ever come across. But she had a very warm spirit, very warm spirit. One thing also that I always remembered is that she'd say, "Melati, jy ken gaan daar waar jy wil. Ek is Thandi Klassen. Jy bly nog die klein laaitjie wat ek altyd opgegroei." She grew up with my mother.
Yes.
And that for me was one of the fondest memories I've always.
I think one of the things that we've really heard many speak about is, the legacies of, artists who have come and gone, how those need to be preserved as living legends like yourself remain. How would you like to see the likes of Thandi Klassen and, others who have since gone being remembered for the role that they played in South Africa? South Africa is just not about music, but it's about the microphone and how that was used during difficult times. For example, when Thandi Klassen was at her prime, where she used the microphone perhaps to pave the way for young non-white women, perhaps to make their mark or break into the music industry.
One of the most important things that we should always appreciate is that people performed within a very painful past.
Yes.
And that remains indelible in some of us who have been through there. And Sis Thandi was not amiss in the midst of all that. What I've always said also is that, why is there no museum? I know we talk about Sis Thandi now, but why is there no museum for Miriam Makeba? You know that those musicians, Miriam Makeba, Thandi Klassen, Dolly Ratebe, Dorothy Masuka, Leta Muli, Sophie Mgina, Jeanette Sahani, the list is endless. Those people went through a life that was so difficult and laid a foundation to say, irrespective of what our circumstances and how difficult they are, we should continuously make it possible for those who come after us continuously perform. We're privileged. We're performing in an environment that is so free. They paved the way for it.
Dade, always a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you very much for your time. Just, some of the living legends that are paying tribute to Thandi Klaasen. Let's just quickly go back inside the hall where tributes continue to pour in, and just very shortly we'll leave for the Thomas Nkobi Cemetery, which is here in Eden Park, and that will be the resting place for Thandi Klaasen.
Unanimously resolved that Honorable Thandi Klassen must be given a civic funeral. I would like to call the following councillors from different political parties in council: a representative from the ANC, which is African National Congress, to come forward. What they are going to do as councillors, they are going to form a guard of honor, and they will bow and hand over to the EMPD. So the EMPD will remain as the speaker, starting from Honorable Executive Mayor Councillor Mzwandile Masina and our Honorable Minister Ntate Nathi Mthethwa. Can we call a representative from the African National Congress? Democratic Alliance, representative. Economic Freedom Fighters, African Independent Congress, Inkatha Freedom Party. I know I have an apology from the Freedom Front Plus. They've got a political commitments. ACDP, COPE, Pan-Africanist Congress, Patriotic Alliance, and IRASA. So these are the councillors that we have in our council. I will ask that it must be to the side, as we prepare the EMPD to come forward. I will request that you take a bow on behalf of our council and say farewell to this wonderful soul. May her dearest soul rest in peace. Thank you very much. Then we can welcome the EMPD, the drillers. As they come in, I will request that Honorable Executive Mayor, our Mayor, Councillor Mzwandile Masina, come to the podium, please.
Program Director, Madam Speaker of Council, Mayor Patricia Khumalo, former President Thabo Mbeki of the Republic of South Africa, the Mpambani and Klassen family, Minister of Arts and Culture, Minister Nathi Mthethwa, Honorable the Premier of the province, Premier David Makura, the MEC of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture in Gauteng, the Chief Whip of Council, City Manager, Acting Chief of Police in the Metropolitan Municipality, members of the Mayor Committee that are here, the associations that were presented today, in particular, Mr. Tony Khoroge, and other leaders of different associations that are here today. Special greetings from the city of Ekurhuleni on this important occasion as we lay to rest our legend, our mother, our stalwart, Umama Thandi Klassen. I want to greet all the legends in her honor and in her name. On Wednesday, we had an opportunity as a city to state to the people of the city, of the province and South Africa that we took a conscious decision because of the contribution that Mama Thandi made in our society or in our community to honor her with the highest honor that can be given by the city. We did so because of the contribution that she made in bringing about the freedom that we enjoy today. We are honored to be here today with all leaders of other political parties in council, united in her name. On Wednesday when we met, we did reiterate, we did say that there is a lot that as a country learn from our artists. We said there on Wednesday that there is no soul that is more liberated than the soul of an artist. And we said that the artist bestow with the gift of a gift to us that ignite our deepest feelings, that deals with our hidden fears, and at times, as we have seen just now, that invokes our greatest joy. We said, a world without a melody, a world deficit of art, is a world void of humanity. Artists are not just ordinary people. These are people of honor. These are people who makes it possible for us to have all these kind of feelings that we define. We are here on behalf of the city today to bid farewell to one of the living legends, Thandi Klassen. We would like to take this opportunity to thank the children, to thank all the different artists that have supported our mom, to thank the community of Eden Park that have embraced her, took good care of her, as we have heard from the neighbor, because he represented not just himself, but the community where Mama Thandi lived. I'm sure all of us will agree that our lives will be much more empty without music. We are blessed to have the musicians of this caliber. I was just whispering to my new wife that if my father-in-law was here or my father was here, he would have been very excited to see all the legends under one roof in the same stage performing for one of their own, who are truly blessed as a city. Today we pay our tribute and our last respect to a true African gem. It is important to highlight the role that our artists play, and yet at times that we take for granted as a people. Through their music, they preserve our heritage, our history, and even our personal evolution as human beings. Mama Klassen and her generation are instrumental music figures in history that must always be spoken about. Their music took our people through the darkest years of our country, as all of us know where we come from. It reflects joy, tears, turbulences, and pain of an era that would shape our political discourse forever. Their music has equally seen through our political heroes and heroines of our times. Having said this, it has become vital that we ask ourselves if we are doing justice in preserving their legacies, but more importantly, drawing institutional memory in the history and evolution of arts and culture in South African history. We are happy, Minister Mthethwa, that you are held very high by the esteemed legends for your contribution that you continue to make to ensure that we preserve this legacy. We want to honor you. Today, as we mourn the passing of Mama Thandi Klassen, let's use this moment also to assess if in the democratic dispensation we are doing enough to preserve the legacies of the artists like Mama Thandi Klassen. And I'm glad that as she lies here in peace, we have been given an assignment which unfortunately I cannot instantly commit because we run the institution. I will have to go back to the city to say, over and above that which we've done for our legend, this is what artists suggest we must do to preserve this history. Mr. Tony Khoroge, we've heard you, but unfortunately we will not answer you now, but in due course we will answer you. We want to say that it is moments like this where we must honor them, applaud them, and shower them with awards. Because if we don't do so, the younger generation will miss the history that they represent. There are important questions that we'll have to ask, whether or not our artists are afforded platforms to soar and become renowned greats like international stars like Umama Wetu, Umama Thandi Klassen. We heard the sad news this morning that another musician has departed, Lundi Jamacha, may his soul rest in peace. We want to say that it is sad when such young lives are lost. Not so long ago, another icon left us, Ubaba Osifiso Ncwane, may his departed soul rest in peace. So if we ask these critical questions that I have said, and if we are able to answer them, or answer these pertinent questions, and most often than not, the answer will be no, because I don't think that we've created enough platforms to make sure that the art of music is understood and appreciated by all. But more can still be done because we have ministers like you, Minister Mtetwa, MECs like you, MEC Faith Mazibuko. Artists are ambassadors, they are patriots, and more importantly, they are champions of nation building. It becomes therefore vital for our country to protect and empower them whilst they live. We don't want to empower them when they are no more. Today we gather in song and in joy, in high spirit as we send off another songstress, another prize gem, who spent her years enriching many souls. It is only natural that God would want one of his best to return home. May a spirit live on for many generations and the sound and innovation influence us for many years to come. One can't finish the tribute without mentioning her style. A reflection of how dynamic she was and how eager she had been to explore uncharted waters beyond borders of confines, as we have heard from the speakers. This is evidence in her sound that influenced, amongst others, the Cuban music. As we bid farewell to Mama Klassen, I reiterate that though she might have gone, her music will live on. Umzimba wakhe ungahamba usishiye kodwa umculo wakhe uzohlala unathi ngaso sonke isikhathi. I urge all the artists to draw strength and inspiration from this icon of our musician. Let's immortalize her legacy through encouraging even younger generation to pursue a passion in arts. We are happy, the legends, that you have appreciated the fact that when the old dies, the new must be born. So what we've seen, the collaboration that we've seen here, we appreciate that. Indeed, you appreciate that the talent must be left with the younger generation so that your legacies can be kept alive. Our time is only but borrowed, and an important thing that what we use it for. Mama Klassen was indeed a whole-rounded human being. It is evidence in the tribute that we have poured from various people, from various dignitaries to humble souls in her communities. Like her, let's put the people of our communities first and ensure that whatever we do so to take our society forward. To Mama Thandi Klassen, wherever you are, fly off to a greater place where your voice will be heard eternally and take your rightful place on the stage after life. Mama Klassen, you are joining many greats that have left us. Sing for Tata Mandela, perform for Tata Oliver Tambo, whom we are celebrating the centenary this year, and many other important great heroes like Umama Wetu, Brenda Fassie, and other departed heroes and heroines, who I'm certain will be delighted to have you as one of their own in heaven. Lala ngoxolo Mama Wetu, may your soul rest in peace. I thank you. Let me take this opportunity on behalf of the Premier and call the MEC to come to the stage. She's well known to us, Umama Faith Mazibuko. Thank you.
Long live the spirit of Mam Thandi Klassen, long live. Long live the spirit of Mam Thandi Klassen, long live. Phambili ngesigagayi somculo phambili. Phambili ngama living legends wethu esinawo namhlanje phambili. Thank you very much, His Excellency the Mayor and the program directors that are here with us today. Ngibhekisa inhlonipho yami kumndeni wonke esinawo namhlanje sithemba ukuthi niyaduduzeka. You are also celebrating a life. Nginibona senishaya ne-jitterbug lapha ngaphambi kwethu. Hopingly ukuthi umama sohlala njalo simkhumbula ngemisebenzi yakhe emihle abekayenza. Sithi mndeni nihlale njalo nibumbene, and make sure that you continue inspiring all of us, reminding us of this great treasure that is lying here in front of us. Honorable Minister of Arts and Culture, onathi la namhlanje, councillors that are present, officials from all the three spheres of government, our legends that are here with us today, bashiyana bonke, no abanye ubabona kuphela ku TV, namhlanje at least sizokwazi ukuthatha ama selfie nathi. Sithi liruna ribaboni besinabo abefundisi abo reverend aba bishop nonke ngokushiyana kwenu ngehlalo zenu, all the communities of Gauteng, our citizens basekuruleni. I stand here on behalf of the Gauteng provincial government representing all the citizens of Gauteng, and we dip our banner in honoring umama uThandi Klassen. Sithi hamba kahle qhawe lamaqhawe, hamba kahle sigagayi somculo sezomculo. You are an inspiration to all of us, young and old. Nathi mabhimbi nathi abakwazi ukucula. Sithi uyibekile induku ebandla. You have run your race. You have carried our flag throughout the world. You have held our flag very high up. The world knows us through your work. You have put South Africa on the map. Sithi hamba kahle Mama Thandi Klassen. Sithembe ukuthi even all the artists in the creative industry, they have learned they've taken a leaf from you. Ukuthi this industry is full of challenges, but through your inspiration and through your hard work and through your very own commitments, you made sure ukuthi the creative industry becomes a place where all artists can know ukuthi you can make a living out of being an artist. Siyabonga kakhulu Mama Thandi ngomsebenzi owenzile. Makaphumule umphumulela wafuthi nokukhanya kwaphakade kumkhanyele. Makaphumule ngokuhle. Amen. Ngizothanda ubiza manje uMinister wethu we-Arts and Culture, ubaba uNathi Mthethwa, naye azobeka amazwi on behalf of the national government. Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Sanbonan. Dumelang. Abshin. Enda. Thank you very much, Program Director and
to all the people who are here with us, first and foremost, the Klassen family, Sis Lorraine and the entire family. We pay our respect to you, to the executive mayor, Babu Mzwandile Masina, and your beautiful wife, your new beautiful wife, as you said, you told us. Thank you very much. To our legends, the honored guests today, the peers of Thandi Klassen, abagcotshwa bethu bakaThixo, abaholi bethu kwi-industry, ngibonile ubaba uHorokhe lapha, no Comrade Blondie. Bantu bakwethu, kuningi osekushiwo ngeqhawe elihambile lapha. Unyaka odlule bekunyaka onzima for i-sector ye-arts and culture. Maningi amaqhawe esiwaphelezele unyaka odlule. Many departed, left us in this sector last year. We hope this year is not going to be that bad. But we didn't start it very well, as we are here today to bid farewell to our hero. As the executive mayor has said earlier on, that we woke up to the news of yet another young icon, Ulundi, uDadewethu Ivonutu Malundan, who passed on this morning. Again, it says that we really need to think as a society, as South Africa. It doesn't really help much that people pay tribute to others when they are departed. When they had a chance, when they are alive, to do or show that love. I would really urge everybody to do that. And it's not a difficult thing to do with artists. Just to attend their shows when they organize shows. Just to be there to support them whilst they're alive. So that all the talk about artists dying paupers and you as society coming back to complain when you don't support them when they are alive is not really something we want to be known of as South Africans. As we pay tribute and homage to one of our finest talents today, Thandi Klassen, I want to say that she may have departed, but she's still very much alive. Her legacy is very much alive. Herself is still with us here, impersonified by Sis Lorraine. You saw she has a duplicate. She left a duplicate for all of us. And through music, Thandi Klassen and her generation were not just entertainers. They really fought apartheid. And in the process, they endured much pain and sacrificed of their lives. At every point of the way, Thandi, you were not content only to fight against, but you knew what you were fighting for. You embraced love and hope in music. You asserted a proud and defiant love for humanity and what it means to be human. Your songs contributed to the making of the memory of our people. It was not only nostalgic, but also an assertion of a people's culture. It was an appreciation that made our country to award you an Order of Baobab in gold for excellent achievement in contribution to the art of music. In 2006, I think all of us heard what the former president said about this award. And to that extent, I also want to pass the message from him that he had to rush to the OAU summit in Addis Ababa. Who would think a daughter of a shoemaker and a domestic worker would tend to be a world icon? The struggle song that Comrade Blondie knows very much, that is popular today, saying, my father was a garden boy and my mother was a kitchen girl, has a practical resonance to her. Proud of you and your generation. And your generation is here with us. We're blessed. We also extend our appreciation to the family. We want to thank the family. We thank the family for sharing this great with all of us as South Africans, for all of us as the peoples of this beautiful continent and the world. You will forever be in our minds as we discharge our life's responsibilities. Since you've been gone, your space has not been occupied or has not been filled by anybody occupied in the same way as yourself. Your passing leaves a gaping hole in the cultural life of our country and indeed of our continent. Together with your generation, you used your voice not merely to entertain, as we said, but to give the voice to the millions of oppressed South Africans under the yoke of apartheid. This generation of yours made its immense contribution to our democracy. Today, we can talk of freedom in South Africa. It never came on a silver platter. People like this generation had to fight for, had to go through pains, trials and tribulations for us to reach the point where we are and declaring today that we are a free nation. The love and support shown by Arts Fraternity paying tributes to Mama Klaasen shows not only how much these artists care and support each other, but also underlines their humanity. The support of our living legends for a fallen colleague shows the world how artists are and also demonstrate the point that they are also human, not human trophies or accessories you can buy at any store, but real human beings whose love is heartfelt. The tributes and support shown to Mama Thandi Klassen and her family are overwhelming and is so a reminder of the value of human life and how one simple life can create such a ripple in the whole world. Their lips touched our hearts with hymns of beauty. They deployed their craft as a weapon in the struggle for peace and social progress. There is a cruel practice in our country of not appreciating our talents when they are still around and feeding our souls. But when they are no more, we see all of us coming on board. It would be important that we nudge and request each other that we are our brothers' keepers. We are ourselves who have to ensure that our society is a caring society. A caring society if it doesn't care for its legends. We cannot talk of nation building if we don't start from those who were there before us, who have shown us the way. Paying tribute to a fallen South African musician cannot only take the form of words uttered in their passing. We need to support our artists, all of them, in whatever endeavor they are involved in. Every South African owes our artists a profound debt of gratitude. Every time we cast our votes, or speak our minds without fear, it's because they fought for our right through song and words and art. Every chance we get to make a better life for ourselves and our families is possible because generations of patriots fought for our country to be in a place where we are in South Africa. And that generation is represented here by the living legends amongst us. We owe you so much. We owe them so much as a nation. We owe Mam Thandi Klaasen so much. Our history shines with patriots who answered the call to put a shoulder to the wheel. Now it is our turn to demonstrate that we are born of a generation that gave everything for their country and people. And that generation is continuing to give. As you saw here, they are grooming the young generation of today. And that is something which we as South Africans should celebrate. Most of all, let's keep working to make that our country upholds our sacred trust to all our artists, because there's so much work to be done, and it needs all the hands on the deck. Rest musically, Mam Thandi. Rest peacefully, we love you. Rest in peace, daughter of the soil and musical icon of our country, our continent, and the world. Thank you for your attention.
I see them grow for you and for me, but I think to myself, oh, what a wonderful South Africa, South Africa. I see children cry, and I see them grow, declaring I'm away. Then I think to myself, oh, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbows, so pretty in the sky, they also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands. They say, Sawona, that's Zulu, Nekai, that's Sutu. They really say, I love you. I hear children cry, and I see them grow.
Beautiful voice there of Thandi Klaasen, jazz legend. She's been lauded for her contribution in the music industry by family and friends who've gathered at the jazz legend's funeral service in Alberton, Ekurhuleni. Klaasen will be buried at the Thomas Nkobi Cemetery east of the city. She died of cancer at the age of 86 last week. She will be remembered, especially for her hit, Sophia Town. And in the 1960s, she starred in the internationally acclaimed musical King Kong. She received numerous awards, including the Order of the Baobab in gold, a Standard Bank Lifetime Achievement Award, the Canadian Women of Distinction Award, and the Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2006 SA Music Awards. We will be taking a break right now, and we'll be back right after that.
So pretty in the sky, they also on the faces
The only way to pour the perfect beer, this professional barman would tell you, is into a glass tilted at exactly 45 degrees. Oh, bless you. Bless you, sir. Bless you again. Well, we'd say the perfect way to pour a beer is at this angle, straight into your mouth. Get a 12-pack of Castle Light Handies for only $94.99 from Tops at Spar.
On Network, we tell you about Africa's social media and technology landscape. 21st century economies rely on technology to truly thrive.
We have quite a comprehensive portfolio of interventions in the tech entrepreneurship space.
And Africans are using tech and social media to solve the continent's unique challenges.
App Nigeria is an online marketplace. Radio Vibe is a social media platform for radio music.
That's Network with me, Spumelele Zondi, every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time.
Former President Thabo Mbeki has joined thousands of mourners who were paying their last respects to the jazz legend Thandi Klaasen. Mbeki says Klassen deserves to be celebrated.
In 2006, we decided that Thandi Klassen should get the Order of the Baobab. In gold, the highest order in terms of service to the people. So I thought I should come today just to say farewell to this distinguished member of the Order of the Baobab, to say once again to her, thank you very much for everything you've done for our people. And to say to her, let her rest in peace. I'm absolutely certain. I'm certain that none of us, as South Africans, will ever forget her. Thanks, Sis Lorraine and Roger. Thanks.
Fellow artists also send their tributes to the jazz legend Thandi Klaasen.
I think I'm just one of those lucky young musicians who got to know Thandi very well. I started rehearsing at Doke House from as early as 1985, and I wish to thank Mekwene Ndaba, who introduced me to Abo Mam Thandi Klassen, Abo Mam Utogo. They used to call her Sophie Mqina. So I was very close to all the older musicians, and to Mam Thandi, you were either a clever or a mukhu. Yeah.
So, you know, what is it, what remains for you from Thandi Klassen and what she stood for? Many said she remained true to herself from the very beginning until the end. You know, she was very proud of where she came from. Even if she performed in America, she made sure that people knew she was from Africa.
Absolutely. Mam Thandi did not want to be anything else. She knew that she was South African, and she was proudly African. I remember one time when she sat and told me her story, how she got banned, and every time I think of her, I remember she said this lady came, and all I heard, this is when she was telling me, I heard hack, and she said, I don't know what happened, and they burned her. But I loved Mam Thandi, and you know, I'm just so sad that the very same SABC that did not celebrate her when she was alive today is bidding her farewell. You know, things do change though. You know, I think we should start practicing what we preach. We need to celebrate our people when they're alive. We need to do what we're supposed to be doing as people. It's actually said in South Africa that we love people when they are gone. You know, we've got our living legends, our Mam Dorothy, our Mam Abigail, whom we're supposed to be showing our children today when they are alive. It's actually said that today we are here celebrating her and bidding her farewell live on television when she was alive. Nobody showed her on TV. I find it very hypocritical.
I think it would also be quite opportune as well, perhaps, Mami Yvonne. We've also heard sad news this morning about the passing of Lundi Yamaha, and I think as musicians, fellow musicians, you would also want to pay tribute to him.
Well, you know, I think Libito Laga, they call me Kidisaleti or Kidiboni. Lundi is one of those boys who, when he was in trouble, he would call me. And Tsepo would always say, Mom, can you call Lundi and tell him to go to the show? And I would call Lundi and say, Lundi, you have to go to the show. Lundi was like one of my other kids as well. So to the family, I'd want to say, you know, may his soul rest in peace. He was challenged like any other person, just like all of us. You know, we live in this world, we're all challenged. And he was a very good musician, and nobody has to judge anybody. God is the only person to judge us. And I want to say, let his soul rest in peace.
We understand, as young as we are, that she comes from Sophia Town. And Sophia Town is a place where creatives and the thinkers of the time, the political thinkers and social thinkers of the time, used to gather together. And that's when you then see and realize that through songs that Abu Mam Thandi used to sing as the first generation of our urban music, through their songs you will hear the consciousness of the time, and through their song you will hear the spirit of the time. And I would wish that we as young people, we also come closer to the thinkers. We come closer to those who are crafting path for us so that we can be able to grab that consciousness and that spirit, so that when we sing or when we act or when we craft or when we paint, we exactly do the same. Because Abu Mam Thandi, they crafted a way for us that is beautiful. They made us to see that it is possible to be on international stages. It is possible to sing at the places where you used to dream of and you could never be. And it is also possible for you to be awarded as an artist coming from the background that they came from. So that is why we hold the spirit very dearly. And I look at us today and I'm thinking, we're all dressed very well, we look beautiful, and everything that we are wearing, it is through an artist mind or a creative mind that design the clothes that you are wearing. But yet, we ask ourselves, why is it that our fashion designers are not living the life? But I don't want to go deeper into those kind of issues. These are the issues that the activists like Abu Mam Thandi used to ask these questions. And these are the questions as the creative and cultural industry that we have to answer and make sure that we change the status quo.
From one sad event to another moment, award-winning gospel singer Lundi Chamaga has died in the early hours of this morning at the age of 38 after a long illness. You heard some of the artists speaking about him a little bit earlier. Now, he had been in Johannesburg in the hospital there since October after being diagnosed with stomach and liver problems. Lundi started his solo career in 1998 and was known for many gospel hits. His groundbreaking hits saw him winning at many awards, such as the Sama Awards, the Cora Awards, and the Crown Gospel Music Awards. Well, that's where we got to leave it for now. We'll take, in fact, we won't take a break. We'll go straight to Kendall with your sports news.
Elvis, thank you very much, and good morning to you all. It's been quite a heavy morning of funerals and news of death of musical icons from South Africa. We sure hope that you have stayed with us throughout all of this. Now, because of that, we're going to bring you something a little more uplifting. We now talk about the African Cup of Nations. The 2017 Africa Cup of Nations football tournament has finally reached the knockout stage in Gabon. All 8 nations that are in the quarterfinals have a number of quality players who are capable of pulling the proverbial rabbit out of the hat. The quarterfinal matches will be played this Saturday and Sunday.
Burkina Faso, who lost 1-0 to Nigeria in the final in South Africa 4 years ago, are still searching for their first continental title since the tournament's inception 60 years ago. They are on the right path as they qualified for the quarterfinals as Group A winners ahead of Africa's powerhouse Cameroon and the host nation Gabon. Aristide Banse is expected to lead the attack in their match against Tunisia on Saturday at 6 p.m. The Tunisians, who finished second behind Senegal in Group B, took care of fellow North Africans Algeria and Southern Africans Zimbabwe on their way to the next round. At 9 p.m. on Saturday, the indomitable Lions of Cameroon will take on Africa's top-ranked nation, Senegal. Cameroon should be wary of the Lions of Teranga, who drew with Algeria in group stages before beating Zimbabwe and Tunisia 2-0. On Sunday, the Democratic Republic of Congo will be up against Ghana at 6 p.m. It is expected to be a mouth-watering encounter between the two nations. The Black Stars of Ghana, however, might be without their talisman and captain Asamoah Gyan, who was replaced in the first half against Egypt on Wednesday after picking up an injury. The last match of the quarterfinals will be a North African derby, where 7-time AFCON champions Egypt will square up against Morocco at 9 p.m. The Pharaohs are a force to be reckoned with in African football, but last lifted the trophy in 2010. The Moroccans might miss the services of Aziz Bohado because of injury, but they have an equally capable replacement in Rachid Aliou, who came off the bench and scored the winner against Cote d'Ivoire on Tuesday. Meanwhile, two-time AFCON winning coach who has made a name for himself for bringing out the best in his players, Hervé Renard, is in Morocco's dugout. The Frenchman is on the verge of becoming the first coach to win the tournament with 3 different nations, as he first lifted the trophy with Zambia in 2012 before leading Cote d'Ivoire to continental glory 2 years ago. Mtutuzi Ndlovu, SABC News.
Now, a shock T20 series defeat by the Proteas at the hands of Sri Lanka has set a stage for a cracking one-day international series starting in Port Elizabeth tomorrow. The home team has already arrived in Port Elizabeth and is determined to bounce back.
A low-key arrival, but the team will draw on its previous ODI visit here. The Proteas beat the Australians easily in October last year. New sensation fast bowler Lungi Ngidi looked relaxed and composed despite nursing a bruise on his hip bone.
Yeah, I heard the vibe here for the fans is actually quite amazing, so I'm looking forward to experiencing that. Other than that, it's a great experience and I'm very happy to be here at the moment.
The two teams also clashed at St. George's during the Test series. The Proteas were victorious in that encounter, but the Sri Lankans are masters of the shorter formats of the game.
New format, it's going to be quite tough. Sri Lanka taking the momentum into the one-day series, so it's going to be a bit of a tough task for us, but quite confident. We've got most of our players back now after the Test series, after the rest, so quite confident going into the one-day series.
Local cricket fans are looking forward to the match.
They must show all South Africans that we are still one. We belong together, we're still one nation, so they can show it on Saturday.
Most of the players that are there in the national team, you will find out that their roots are from this area, so everybody would like to go out there and watch them.
The 5-match series forms part of the national team's preparation for the Champions Trophy in England and Wales in June. Zolani Moya, SABC News, Port Elizabeth.
Now, South African Rugby expects to announce the outcome of its coaching review process towards the end of next week. A report back had been received by the Executive Council and a number of decisions have already been taken. Uncertainty does remain, though, over the future of Springbok coach Alistair Coetzee. Coetzee has come under immense pressure after losing 8 of his 12 tests in 2016. Since then, there have been calls for Coetzee's head from all corners of the country. South African Rugby President Mark Alexander said members of the Executive Council have decided on a way forward, which will be announced in due course. And Durban will enjoy a spectacle as the city plays host to the second leg of the Netball Quad Series. The tournament will feature the top 3 ranked netball countries, that's Australia, New Zealand and England, while hosts South Africa round off the Quad Series participants.
Netball, one of the fastest growing sports in the world. Top-ranked countries meet in Durban for the Netball Quad Series.
There was a need identified by the 4 top countries, or the 3 top countries. We are number 5 in the world, and Australia, New Zealand, England are 1, 2 and 3. And they felt the need to have another competition that is of high intensity and gives quality time on court.
Australia are leading the Quad Series tournament and are the number 1 ranked country in the world. However, the pressure is on the Australian Diamonds as other countries look to close the gap. The South African Proteas are at the bottom of the table, but look to make a big impact at the Durban leg of the Quad Series.
For the SPA Proteas, it's always crucial that we go on court and we perform our best. I think we've been working so hard in trying to gel as a team.
The Proteas' first opponent, the England Roses, expect a tough challenge in their opening match.
South African netball have developed over the years. I think there was a time when South African netball were up there. I think they came second in World Champs, and then they kind of fell away. But now I think we've seen the resurgence of them.
The Quad Series starts on Saturday with Australia taking on New Zealand, followed by the Proteas against England. Yugashan Pillay, SABC News, Durban.
Now, since we're talking previews of the weekend, there's none other as big as the Australian Open preview. Over the weekend, we're going to have the men's finals as well as the women's finals. First up, Serena will be up against her sister Venus. And should be very interesting how that final goes. Williams will be coming out tops in that one in the women's draw. In the men's draw, a lot of people are hoping for Rafael Nadal up against Roger Federer. But first, Rafael needs to make sure that he gets rid of Grigor Dimitrov. Let's take live pictures from that match.
Love 15.
Why did the umpire just give Nadal a warning when we could clearly see that Dimitrov also takes 25 seconds between his points?
Yeah.
Both players are using more than 20 seconds, which is the normal guideline for Grand Slam tennis.
It's a shambles of a rule. And the reason I say it is because it's not a rule.
Exactly.
If it's a rule, it's a rule, but it's not. It's completely open to interpretation, and it actually does our sport a disservice by having 2 different for the Tour and for Grand Slams. Obviously, the Tour is 25, but the fact that it's left to the umpire's discretion it's open to abuse, actually.
Of course, the players don't know how close they're getting, right? 30-15. Any indicator that they might need to speed things up, so it makes it tough on them. Yes, they know about how long it feels, but you know, sometimes you need a definitive guide. Nice shape to that serve.
40-15.
Tell you what, this is promising to be a cracker of a match. Dimitrov coming back in the second set. As you can see, the score is currently 4-1. He obviously broke Nadal at least once in this particular second set. Nadal haven't taken the very first one. He took that 6-3. It's going to be a live crack of a match. Make sure that you stay close and watch that match to see who's going to be facing Roger Federer in the final of the men's Australian Open. This is me, Keno Mahamad, signing out. Until next week, this is Alex Sydney.